Hey friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we've got a knife by Kansept. It's the Kansept FOOSA. She is a beautiful knife. You can get it in this black wash or stone wash and 3 different handle materials. I got mine from integrityknives.com. That's a store in Canada. I think they ship worldwide. You can get 10% off when you shop there with coupon code CCE. They sent me this last month in July, and I loved it from the start. Looks like it's an awesome knife just from seeing it here. Did you know it's a slip joint? It's one of those modern slip joint knives that it took me by surprise how much I liked it. Now, this is not a low budget knife, but it's only $99.99 Canadian from inside Canada, so you can get it quickly. Unfortunately, they don't have the yellow one in stock. They've only got listings for the jade, so you could dye it any color you want, or they have it with the carbon fiber handle. The carbon fiber one has got this black stonewash, and the jade one has got just a regular stonewash blade. They also make it in micarta, a green micarta handle option. So you got lots of different ways to buy it. I've got links down below to make it easy for everybody. I even found a store in Australia that has this. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any stores in Europe that are carrying this knife. And I don't know why. As a slip joint knife, it should be one that is very popular in Europe. So hopefully I just overlooked something. Check out your stores if you're looking for a good slip joint detent knife. It uses a detent instead of a back spring, which I also love. So let's get to the tabletop and take a good close look at the FOOSA. If you remember from the unboxing, inside the box comes this. This is like a denim kind of canvas kind of fabric. And you open it up, and inside there's a nice soft fabric in which the knife is. So this is a good storage solution for however you store your knives. It could even be a carry system in a pinch, I guess. All depends on what you want to do. So here it is again. We've got a pocket clip. Let's look at that first. We've got a pocket clip that uses 2 screws. They're T6 screws. It's black washed like the blade is. I'm assuming that the ones that have just a stonewash blade will have a stonewash pocket clip. 3 holes, it's a good pocket clip. Functionally, it climbs over and goes to the full depth. It's a well-performing pocket clip. It's not a deep carry pocket clip, but it's certainly a good performing clip. You do have to pay attention to the screws, because they are at 2 different heights. So when you take this apart and put it back together, you need to put the proper screw in because, that screw's longer than that screw. The body screws on here, they are button screws, which I'm not too terribly fond of, but they're good quality screws. I've taken this knife apart and put it back together. I already recorded the internal part, so I found these screws are actually good quality screws. I like them quite a lot. We've got 1 pivot screw, of course, 1 pivot screw. We've got the 1 pivot screw and then 2 body screws to hold it together. A little bit of a G10 backspacer. And the layer of G10 on here, as you can see from this perspective, it's not terribly thick, so it doesn't add a lot of weight. We've got the black liners in here. And so you got a really good, black and yellow look here. We've got a flipper that's got jimping all the way around it. So it's easy to get your finger on there and just deploy the blade whenever you want to. You don't have to try to get it at just the right spot. I quite like that the flipper tab. Blade alignment. It's very good. It's right down the middle there, just like you want it to be. When you deploy the blade, we've got a nice straight back blade on the straight back of the handle. It looks quite good. Size comparison with the Ontario Rat 1, definitely it's a smaller knife. It's not actually an awful lot smaller, but it's definitely, you know, a smaller knife. It's thinner, and it's just smaller in every dimension, and that's okay. It's a 3-inch blade. Unfortunately, it's just a hair over 3 inches. That's a mistake by Kansept, I think. Depends on how nitpicky authorities can be. You know, if you get stopped and they want to look at your knife and they measure it and they find out, you know, that it's just over 3 inches and you live in a jurisdiction where you've got 3-inch laws, that's too bad. It's not that hard to fix. You just have to sharpen it a couple times at the tip, and then it's going to be 3 inches or less. We've got that nice black wash. I like that look to it. There's no jimping here on the spine of the blade or where your thumb rest is. That's okay. I don't think it really needs it. It's not, you know, a heavy-duty locking knife. We've got Kansept's logo right there, and then just up here in the corner, 154 cm, and then below that, it's the model number 10-2020, and then T6 for this yellow handle. So the model is basically 10-2020, and then you've got the color code at the end of it. We've got, I'm going to call it a modified Asian tanto. So we've got the curved tanto, like there's a belly on the tanto. The blade thickness, it stays mostly the full thickness until that tip section starts. And then it comes down to the edge, and you don't see any distinct line here. They just sort of blended it all in, so a nice gradual transition to the tip part of the blade. And then that belly turns into the main belly of the blade, and that's just a slight belly. It's not straight. It's actually got just a little bit of a belly there. Now, when they sharpened it, they sharpened those two sections separately, and so you can see a transition spot right there. I think when I'm going to sharpen this knife, I'm just going to blend it in, because I think it'll look better, for me anyways, blend it in. The sharpener's choil, pretty much perfect. That's a very good spot, very good size. It's, you know, properly halfway or 2/3 in the ricasso and 1/3 onto the main bevel of the blade, so that's a good thing. The jimping that's on the other side of this flipper tab, when you've got the knife open, it creates a spot for your finger to grip into when you're using the knife. So it acts like a little bit like a guard that's got texture on it, which is a good thing. How does this knife perform in my cutting tests? It does very well. It's a good cutting knife. 154 cm is really good with the full flat grind, the thin edge behind the grind, and the decent sharpening job that they did makes this knife a very good knife to have around. I quite like it. And now let's show you the part of the video where I took it apart. I had to use a screwdriver from either side, so I put the knife in a small table vise and then had to do it that way, which is unfortunate. On a knife at this price range and this quality, it should not have a free spinning pivot pin. That's just lame. Kansept, do better. So here we go. We've got the detent arm. It works just like it does on a liner lock or a frame lock knife. The detent touches in the detent hole on the blade. This detent hole right here holds it closed. You're used to seeing the knife come around and then it ends where it goes off. In this one, you just have another detent hole. So the detent holds it open just like it holds it closed. So it's not a locking knife. It's a detent knife. The only thing I really, really wish is they would have done this on both sides. A double detent slip joint. That would hold it open with a little more force. It would take more to push it to start to close it. 2 detent would be much better, and this not being a D-shaped pin, being free spinning, that's a big miss. Does it make me not want the knife? No. I think this thing's still going in my permanent collection. I really, really like it. It's just, you know, that's a bad oversight. If you're going to do another round of these, next time you manufacture these Kansept, fix that. and spend a little bit extra money and make it a double detent, and you'd be making a lot of people a lot more happy. Now it's time to do the sizes and dimensions. We'll put this guy on the screen as we do that. The weight of this knife, 87 grams. That's 3.1 ounces. Quite good. The factory sharpness, 65 bess. Very good. The cutting edge length is 79.5 millimeters, 3.13 inches. But the blade length is 77.4 millimeters, 3.05 inches. So yes, it's a little over 3 inches, and that's a miss. I'd rather have it be 2.95 inches instead of 3.05. That tiny little bit that you gain, you lose in a lot of places where this would be legal. The blade thickness, 2.99 millimeters. That's 0.1175 inches, and you might be hearing Bandit snoring in the background if you've got headphones on. The blade depth, it's more narrow and gets a bit thicker, kind of like the handle is narrow and it gets a little bit thicker up there. Right here's the widest point, 21.1 millimeters, 0.83 inches. How thick is it behind the grind right there? 0.34 millimeters, which is 0.013 of an inch. The grind angles on this side, 19.6, on this side, 19.7, and there's just a couple of points, decimal points of difference on the front section up here. So very well sharpened, pretty close to 20 degrees per side. I really like that. With 154 cm, I'm probably going to sharpen this thing to 16, 17, 18 degrees per side. Since it's not a heavy use knife, I want to really get this thing super, super slicey. The handle now, the handle length, 104.3 millimeters, 4.11 inches. The grip area behind that flipper tab as a guard, it's about 9 centimeters, about 3.5 inches. The thickness of the handle is 11 millimeters on the nose, 0.433 inches. The handle depth, again, it's widest up here, and this is in the grip area, but it's widest right there, 22.6 millimeters, 0.89 of an inch. When it's open, it's the same size right there. When it's closed, the widest point is with the flipper. Like to go in your pocket, you need 26.8 millimeters, 1.055 inches. So it's 1 inch, to go into your pocket. The total length of this knife when the blade is deployed is 181.7 millimeters, 7.15 inches. I like those specs. I like them a lot. Like I was saying, when it's taken apart, I wish it had 2 detents, and that would hold it open with a little bit more power, a little more pressure you'd have to put on before it opens. I think that's a miss. That free spinning pivot, that's the other miss. But other than that, I really like this knife, and those things aren't huge. Those things are minor misses on my point, from my perspective. Would I like them to be there? Of course, but it's not that big a deal. With the pivot, since we got screws on both ends, like Torx heads, it's not hard to take it apart. If one side was smooth and it was free spinning, then it would be a pain, but this is just a minor irritation. I just have to clamp it into a system and then use 2 screwdrivers. Not a big deal. The detent, I wish there was 2 of them. That's the biggest negative on this knife, but it's not big enough for me to say that I don't like this knife. I think I'm going to be keeping this in my permanent collection. The price is not that bad. It's basically 100 Canadian dollars. The carbon fiber version is 113, well, minus 1 cent at Integrity Knives, and you can save 10% off that price with coupon code CCE. So Canadians, you can buy this in Canada quick and get it to yourself really quick. Fortunately, they don't have the yellow, like I said. They've just got the natural jade or the carbon fiber. And then there's those 2 other colors that are around. I've got links down below for White Mountain knives if you want to get one of the other colors, like this yellow or the micarta. It's really odd to me that this knife, I couldn't find it in Europe. Of course, I didn't check every store in Europe. I know that there's at least one guy in Germany. Thomas might be interested in this knife. Thomas is one of my Patreon supporters, a great guy. And, non-locking knives are very convenient in Germany because of German law. Of course, they can have locking knives if they're two-hand opening, but this is, quick and easy. One hand, you open something, close it up, put it away. So fast and convenient. And it's a good size. I like the size of this knife quite a lot. I think Kansept did a lot of good things on this. Rolf Helbig made a design that I think is a winner. Of course, it's not perfect, but what is, right? I didn't mention lanyard. There's no lanyard system for this knife. If you would like a lanyard, you're going to have to tie it around the pocket clip somehow. So I'm not that big of a lanyard fan anyway, so it's not that big a deal for me. What do you think of this knife? Leave your comments down below. If you've got any questions or anything, ask them as well. I only respond to initial comments. If you make a comment and I reply to you and you reply to that comment, I probably won't see it. I don't have time to keep track of all of the discussions that get started. I just basically respond to brand new comments. The other thing you can do is you can email me at canadiancuttingedge@gmail.com if you've got any questions, and I will get on that as quickly as I can. Usually it's the same day that I respond. So thank you, my friends, for watching this video. Thanks for sharing it with your colleagues, your friends, your workmates, whatever. I'm trying to grow this channel as much as I can, and I'm trying to do my best of getting good, honest, clear reviews that give you detailed information so that you can make informed purchasing decisions. That's my goal. I need a little help doing that, so if you want to support me on Patreon or on YouTube, patreon.com/CCE, or on YouTube members, you can click join below the video, and you can help me grow this channel and keep getting good quality knives in for review. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, friends, cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye for now.